Today on the Lady Boss podcast, entrepreneurs are always thinking about their product, how to build a business, what the marketing is. On the entrepreneurship journey, just as important are dotting your I's and crossing your T's. Today's guest, Leslee Cohen from All Rise Legal and Lawyers, is going to talk to us about all the startup paperwork all the way through fundraising that probably none of us have considered, but it is so important. Partnership agreements, startup agreements, and finally fundraising round. Really excited to share her story. Leslee, you are not just like any other lawyer I've ever met. Tell me, is that because you own your own business, or there's something else about that?
Completely because I own my own business.
Okay, so are your customers not stuffy?
Most are not.
Okay, so everybody, when you get into your business, has to pick out, a lane. Mm-hmm. And I love the story of how you picked out your lane. Can you just give me 30 seconds on what really got you to start All Rise?
Well, so just clarify, meaning my lane, like what we do.
So just talk to me about, who you serve, because, I know all kind of lawyers, they do high net worth individuals that are, they do trust and they do wills, and then they do litigation, and they do family law. And, tell me a little bit about your lane.
My practice area. Okay. So my lane is representing startups and small businesses in connection with their fundraising, their pre-seed, seed, and Series A. And got into it. It's a very long story, but the short story is I had all this experience on Wall Street doing like huge public offerings, and moved back to Chicago. When I started the firm with my partner, I had to go out and find business for the first time, and I had this knowledge of the securities law, and the law is the same if you're raising $500,000 or $500 million.
Exactly.
And all the startups in Chicago, and all over, were starting, the whole scene was burgeoning. 1871 was opening. And I knew the law, but not the market. And so kind of realized there was like a open niche in the city for affordable law firms that could work with smaller businesses, but had the knowledge and the expertise on fundraising.
So I love that you are what I call a businesswoman lawyer, because you do work with startups, and I want to talk about some of the challenges there. And by lane, I really mean that we all get pigeonholed into a practice area, an expertise area, but you've really taken this, and the other thing I love about your business is, you were talking so much about business development, but eventually it turned out now your phone's ringing because you're known as the startup guru. So what are the real needs? If you had to say top 3 reasons that somebody picks you as a lawyer that's going to raise money as a startup company.
Well, first of all, the larger firms are prohibitively expensive, or they have like a first-year associate doing the work. And so that's just not optimal. So it's cost is part of it. I'd say even more important than that is just having the expertise. You don't want to go to a surgeon for heart surgery that does like surgery all over the body. You want to go to someone who is a heart surgeon. And we are startup lawyers, and we really know the market, we know the terms, we know, and so if questions come up like, I want to compensate my, incoming CTO with equity, how much should I give them? I mean, we know that. We know what everybody else is doing in your industry. So I would say that's the number one reason.
Why can you be less expensive and still obviously so high powered versus a big firm?
We are hyper efficient, so we know exactly how to. So we're all about efficiency and keeping costs down instead of billing as many hours as we could possibly bill, which is like the big law model. Obviously, our overhead is lighter. Mm-hmm. That's one part of it. But we also, because we do this all day, we have forms for pretty much everything. And of course, every business has like a little bit of a difference, but we've got all the starting forms. I mean, I'd like to do stuff like sending questionnaires to clients with all the things I'm going to need to know in order to draft the documents that they need, instead of just taking these, 40-page documents and reinventing the wheel too.
Yeah, I love that you're so process driven in a way that's very process and efficient, which doesn't go hand in hand normally with lawyers. So tell me this. now they love you. You do a deal, and I want to talk a little bit about that. And they call you and say, okay, Leslie, now I want to buy some real estate and get a divorce. You must have business you're referring out all the time.
A ton.
So you're your business owner. Would you ever consider adding on a practice to your practice, or is it just better to stay so narrow and deep and refer it out?
I mean, that's a great question, and everyone would probably answer it differently. I really like to, as a leader of the team, I like to have the expertise that that all my team members have, so that I can look over things, so that I can, and I'm at that precipice. I'm at that precipice of growth where my coach always says, are you like ready to bring on another practice area? But like I said, I like knowing what I'm doing and what my people are doing and understanding, the law around it. And I love those referral relationships. I've built up this huge network of people, and we feed each other business, and it feels so good. And I meet these amazing people. So right now I'm really happy where I am.
Your coach called me. That's why I asked you that.
Really?
Yeah.
No. I'm very gullible.
So are you able to grow at the rate you've been growing in that lane and staying narrow, or will you hit a ceiling where it's like, no more startups in Chicago, I can't grow my firm as much as I have been year over year?
So I don't think it's going to be a problem because there are always new startups, but what happens is we have more areas than startups. So what happened, and that was an organic growth where the startups would say, okay, we raised the money, we've got this, we've got $1 million now. We need to hire someone. Do you guys do employment agreements? We need a contract for our customers to sign. Do you guys do those SaaS agreements, license, all the different contracts that a company needs day to day? So as we hired, I brought on people with that expertise. So, I'm not a technology lawyer. I'm a good contract lawyer, but I brought on a technology lawyer. And so we grew into that area. Now we have one-off clients for just contract work. And then I've also always done mergers and acquisitions. So now these companies, as they grow, we're ready to acquire a competitor and grow that way. We do acquisitions. We have a big exit coming up, and so we do that whole business cycle, but also we attract clients from, who aren't startups and who are selling their business or buying a business.
Do you like your part of the job where you're actually doing the work, or you're coaching the team better?
So interesting. I would have never, I was really just a lawyer for all these years, and not just, but it just never, and I've just stepped into and learned in the past 2 years how to run a business, and I love it. I'm actually more enjoying running the business.
You seem so good at it, and I think law is one of those jobs, kind of a lot like being a very, very, very good sales talent, where you can be in your office and do your own thing and talk to the outside world all day and grow a really great business without having to have people. And same thing with lawyer. You could have just, done more work, and not had to be a boss. A lot of people get to be a boss and then figure out it's really hard. It's hard to run a business. It's hard to manage people. It's hard to run cash flow, figure out the pricing model, do all these things. What gave you the confidence and know-how to be as good as you have been?
Well, thank you for the compliment. I did a accelerator program, incubator accelerator program, just like that's where a lot of my clients come from, speaking and mentoring at those programs for more technology companies or food and beverage. But I had no idea. My partner retired, and I had absolutely no idea how to run a business. And I met this woman who ran these groups, these groups of, and it was a group of 7 women, and we were all successful in our fields, but learning to run a business and scale a business. And it was a year long, and we met for a full day every month, and we would learn, month 1 was financials, and the dollars and all that stuff. And then month 2 was marketing and social media marketing. And so I learned, and then I read books, and I watched podcasts, and everything I could possibly do because I was loving it. And it's just just little by little, it was like a new, it was perfect timing. My second son went to college, and I was like, okay, ready. This is my 3rd child, ready to do this.
It's just fascinating because no matter if we're talking to, M&A advisor, lawyer, business owner, startup, everybody's, 3 problems or opportunities are all the same. And I just really admire how you've just become such a student of the game. And I always felt like that was really my competitive advantage. It's like every time I don't know something, I'm like, okay, I'll learn it. I'll study it. I'll, listen to all the podcasts and material there is. And, but a lot of people, just don't feel like digging in that hard. And I think, being a lawyer by trade, I mean, you guys are in the weeds a lot.
Yeah.
You're detail people. And that is probably the real asset here, is that you can't like do law at 60,000 feet. You got to really dig in.
Yeah.
And I feel like you've really, applied that to the rest of your business. So what, 5 years you look out, what could All Rise look like if you really tried to just, keep the noise out of your head, you had all the money and time you wanted? What's the biggest goal you have?
I mean, we're almost there. I wanted a 10-person boutique. And we just hired our 8th lawyer. So I wanted to be like a go-to small firm in Chicago that did really sophisticated work. And that was fun. And, just you wanted to be with these people and they weren't intimidating. So I feel like I'm almost there. I just want to keep, if it keeps growing, which I think it will, that's great. We'll add people. I think my next challenge is someone else to run the business with me if we grow anymore, because that's just getting, I love it, but I'm wearing all the hats.
Yeah.
And with my incredible, incredible team. And I think, that's something else worth mentioning that I don't know how much you and I have talked about before, is that my team is we just added our first man.
I know. I was going to bring it up. I'm glad you
Okay.
did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're an all-women firm. Well, one man.
Yeah,
so
one great, great man.
He's wearing a lot of hats right now.
Yes.
And is that just the lens that you look to in the future, that you'll always try to attract women talent if you can?
It's such a good question coming at this moment, because we did a big team building the other day, my whole team, and I raised the question, how do you guys feel about, we're going to need another associate probably, because the guy we just brought on gentleman, has a very nice book of business, and we're going to need more lawyers to service it. And I said, how do you feel about adding a man? And I started thinking about how I have 2 boys I'm raising, right? Or raised, still raising, even in their 20s.
Yeah.
And I have the best husband in the world, who's like my platform for jumping off of the world, of everything. And my dad is like my guy. And, my mentors have all been men who have been incredible to me. I want to be a champion of women, but I don't want to exclude men ever. I don't ever want to be perceived as like, anti-men.
Yeah.
And so I think we'll probably move in that direction of adding a few men. I think the woman thing, there's two big like pinnacles behind it that mean a lot to me. And one is giving women who need flex time for whatever reason a place to be able to do all the work they want to do, the kind of work they want to do, the amount of work they want to do. And the second is having women be treated differently than they're treated in the big law firms.
Is it a bad place in the big law firms?
That's firm by firm, and it's not a bad place anymore for the most part. I felt like a lot of the firms that I've been at, a lot of the men are, older men had non-working wives. And so I got a lot of things like, when I got pregnant with my second son, oh, we're going to miss you so much. We're so excited for you. We're going to miss you. And I'm like, where am I going? And, and they're like, well, we know the kind of mom you are to your son. Like, you're never going to be able to do that with 2 and keep working. I'm like, okay, watch me. Like, I don't want anyone to ever be in that position. So, and also it's all about bringing in business to have any power at the bigger firms.
Yep.
And I want to reward people also for just doing great work, keeping the current clients happy.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Why don't you have your name on your firm? That just seems like you become a lawyer and you get your name on the door. Those are the 2 things that happen once you're successful.
My dad asked me the same question. Both my parents asked me the same question. I wanted to create something that's sustainable beyond me. I want to pass it on to the lawyers who work for me. And I wanted to be, it's All Rise for women rising, minorities rising, startups rising, like all of us rising together in society. And
I love the name and I love who you're serving. I just there's just so many things about it that seem more current than a lot of the other law firms, which is why I really want to talk to you about this. Leslee, tell me, like, what are, you see lots of entrepreneurs. You're your clients are all entrepreneurs. What are things you see that make you cringe about either the money they're getting or their business model or just something in the infancy of their business that you can look at and give them guidance?
Well, I mostly give guidance from the legal perspective. And so, like one of the things I see is co-founder relationships. And that is legal and a little bit of psychology. That I've seen a lot of relationships where, one co-founder is calling me and talking about the other, problems with the other one. And, she's not pulling her weight, he's whatever it is. And so, I try to get people like talk to each other, just sit down and talk to each other. And most important thing to me is like a co-founder agreement if there's more than one founder immediately.
Okay.
And if there's 50-50 ownership, then definitely like dispute resolution. Yeah, I hate that. So dispute resolution. And investors don't want to see that either. Like that's not what they're investing in.
Yeah.
So, I'd say that's a big one. Giving out too much equity to too many people is huge. I mean,
Okay, and everybody thinks this sounds so glamorous. Tell us why, in a nutshell, it is so dangerous to give out so much equity at the beginning.
because eventually you're going to want to attract really good talent for your upper management team, and they're all going to want equity, and you want to preserve your majority ownership, or you're going to lose your business. You're going to lose control of your business.
100%. And I don't think that a lot of the startups, not all, they don't understand the life cycle of a business. And, they're in infancy and they're going to get to the teenage years and growth and eventually here. And, I'm a big, what gets you here won't get you there person. So these people they're giving out equity to won't even be at the table if they grow in 5 years because they won't be the right people to take them to the next level.
Absolutely. Agree.
And so now they've got this challenge because they've got equity, but they're parting ways with a person that really isn't right to take them to the next step. So that is such good advice. You need to I know you're putting on your therapist hat on both of those things because the founder relationship is really, it's very odd and codependent sometimes and like so emotional and just hard for them to even listen a lot of the times. And
Absolutely.
It's such a cycle in their business that so much is going to change. So that's the problem that I think, do you know when you're dealing with people that are just like have a good product, but just not good business people?
Yes. I know exactly, if I was asked to invest, exactly which of the companies I would invest in. And it's more often the people than the business, for sure.
Than the model.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what can you tell about the people that like gives you that feeling? I mean, you do this all day long.
I see a lot of disorganization, and that is a huge problem. And when you talk about like what I've done, in building my business, like I did the program. I realized I don't know everything, and I did the program, and I have, a spreadsheet on what I need to do as the business grows, and I make sure to allocate time to do it. And, all these things where I see people who are they're just a mess. I mean, they just,
So is that prioritization? Because disorganization, if you go look at my desk, it's a mess, and I know exactly where everything is. I think is it really prioritization and knowledge of how to run a business, or is it really just they're so disjointed because they're founding a product or a service and starting a business and have to grow it, which, let's be fair, that's a lot. It's a lot. We've both done it. It's it's not in a little bow until it's in a bow.
Right.
So which do you think it really is?
I guess it's both. I mean, I guess it's more the latter. But it's just like, I just know when people when people don't respond when I send them a document, and then 3 weeks later they're like, oh my God, I need it right now. I need it right now. And I just went through it, and here's my changes. And then it's been 3 weeks since I looked at it. And then, so that kind of personality where, just a lack of focus. And I know the legal is, not what a business owner wants to be focused on. I totally get that. But I got to tell you, when investors come into the picture, they want to know that all the legal ducks are in a row, or they see exactly what I saw and they're out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good point. I think that for all of us, right? Like there's 1,000 things we could do every day, but there's probably 3 things that move the needle. And it's knowing what those three things are and doing them, and then either delegating or letting go of. I mean, you probably let go of like 800 of them. There's a lot of nice twos. And that idea that, it's like perfect. Nope. Nobody's getting paid for perfect. You got to do just good enough, but those documents have to be perfect, or those really smart investors are going to drop their, offer and move on.
Absolutely.
Yes. I mean, talk to me about, what do you think the ideal characteristics? So prioritization, we listed as, knowing what really are the hot buttons. What else really makes that ideal entrepreneur that you could almost bet on and say, this company is going to be something in some time?
An openness to learning and realizing that they don't, like I said, like they don't know everything. I think that's huge because, and a willingness to bring on a team and to delegate, like you talked about.
Does hard work play into it?
Oh my God. Yes, hard work plays into it in a big way. Not like being realistic instead of, I've had clients come in and say, hi, I'm so-and-so, we're the next Facebook. I'm telling you right now, like we're going to be your biggest client. And I'm like, no, you're not. I mean, I hope you are, but living in reality, hard work, willing to learn.
How do you think decision-making plays into it? Because I always hear that the most successful people are those that can really make decisions quickly and a lot of decisions, because that's what we're doing all day.
Absolutely. I think that's huge.
And I don't even think they have to be the right decisions.
I agree. I agree.
It's making action, and that is the thing that really separates, sort of the people that move forward. They're just constantly decide and go, pivot, decide and go. Oh, made a mistake, keep going.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good to hear. And it's so true. I really feel like whether your business is, 6 months old, 6 years old, 60 years old, you can tell that leader who is going to take it to the next level, whatever that is, whether it is the next Facebook or the next, business that exits. And it's not always the smartest person.
No.
Doesn't have to be. A lot of those traits you listed aren't, Phi Beta Kappa. They are, grind and hustle, and then really making good decisions. Prioritization are some of the big key skills that entrepreneurs have to have, which is what I love about it, because you don't have to go to Harvard to be an entrepreneur.
Yes. I would add another one, liking other people and being personable. And that doesn't mean extroverted, because I am not extroverted by any stretch of the imagination, but it's the it's like I love meeting new people and seeing and helping them, and then it always comes back. But it feels so good to help them. But I just
interest in other people.
Interest in other people. So whether it be employees, potential customers, people who just I met someone yesterday out of nowhere who was like, would you want to do swag for your, they don't just do like All Rise, like they do really cool stuff. I'm like, never thought about doing swag. I bet my team would love that, and all about motivating my team. So I think that's so important that you're not like only heads down at your desk doing your work.
But that's actually learning, because when you meet people and you engage with people and you're interested in what they're doing, helping them, or just what they're doing and why they exist, you're really learning. Sure. And I think it's like everything does go back to learn, you go to a place, well, why is this and how is this and how did this get here? And those are the people that I find they're just constantly taking in information, which is also, so relative, because we run into situations that we don't know what we're doing, and we can kind of go back into the card file and say, well, I saw this and maybe I can call this person and here's how I do it. So were your parents entrepreneurs?
My dad was. Yes.
You can tell. You talked dinner. You talked dinner table talk. I mean, you're just so naturally savvy about this stuff. What did he do?
He was a lawyer. He is a lawyer and an accountant. Started his own firm. Did open the Chicago office of a big international firm, and actually left because he missed being on his own, building his own thing.
So he's like your de facto board of advisors, watching along, and he's been, in your shoes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. He's got to be so proud.
I think so.
That's awesome. All right, Leslie, before we let you go, you want to do the lightning round?
Sure.
All right. Tell our listeners, what is your favorite employee motivational, tool?
We do team building stuff where we all get to, so our last one was, lightning's probably supposed to be faster than this, but the last one we did was a couple last week, and we all identified our favorite superheroes and then talked about what characteristics of those superheroes did we admire and how did we see them in each other. It was a whole day thing.
It's a whole
It was
group of
super
smart
cool.
people. That's
Oh,
okay. So
it was awesome.
We'll put that one. Okay, what's a podcast that you go to listen to and learn?
There's Steve Fretzen does one called Be That Lawyer. And he's a coach for lawyers, and he brings on other coaches for lawyers. And I've learned so much listening to
Very
that.
cool. All right. Any books that stand out that you've read over your lifetime that you refer back to?
I love Clan of the Cave Bear, which is a really old one.
Okay.
But I love Isla. She was this power girl
Fiction.
as she grew. Fiction. Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Well, who knew? Lawyers read fiction. What's your best daily hack?
I do crossword puzzles every day. I love that.
Do you really?
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, you are a lawyer through and through. Everything. Yeah. Does your exercise have a smart component to it too?
Tabata.
Tabata. Wait, I know that. I've done that before. What is that?
20 seconds on, 10 seconds rest. Strength cardio.
Strength cardio.
Yeah.
Okay, Leslie, tell us. Thank you so much. That was so much fun. I know that you got to adjust your goal. You've already hit your goal, so I want to see the firm get bigger because what you're doing is really great work. Tell everybody where we can find out more about All Rise.
At www. I feel like I'm at allriselawyers.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being with us. Really
Thanks for
appreciate learning.
having me. I love talking to you.